evening and welcome to Henry Carnegie Stadium. It's a filthy night for this game here against Hull Kingston Rovers. Quick run through the starting lineup, starting with Rovers who have Ben Cockayne at fullback, Peter Fox, Jake Webster, Chris Wellen and Liam Coleman in the three quarters. Halfbacks Paul Cook and Michael Dobson. Up front Nick Fozzard, Ben Fisher and Nick Vella. Clint Newton, Ben Gallier and Scott Morrell finishes the lineup. Leeds lineup with Brent Webb at fullback, no Scott Donald, so that brings Callum Watkins in. Lee Smith, Keith Senior and Ryan Hall. Danny Maguire and Rob Burrow at half-back. Kyle Uluwai, Matt Diskin, Jamie Peacock up front, Jamie Jones Buchanan and Ali Lalatit in the second row, and Carl Ablett locks the scrum. Kevin Sinfield has a dead leg from last week. Ben Thaler is the official and we are underway. The wind is blowing into Leeds' face at the moment as Jake Webster gets the kick-off that he's taken by a three-man challenge. It'll be Fisher in at dummy half. Dobson, they go two out to Mick Vella. Fisher again at dummy half. Here is Nick Fozzard. Hull KR in a brown and orange kit. Why? I don't know. Fisher at dummy half finds Dobson. Dobson's dropped it, and that's going to be the first error of the evening, and we'll pack a scrum 25 away from the Leeds line. Scott Morrell, once in the academy here, just tries to rally the troops, and everybody's got the underskins on tonight as well. Ablett from the base finds Maguire. Maguire comes crossfield, tips it up to Senior, and Senior runs into Newton and Fozzard. Diskin at dummy half finds Peacock. Peacock taking Cook on, gets to the 20. Diskin at dummy half finds Ablett, back to Burrow. Burrow decides to take the line on but only ends up running into Mick Vella. Diskin at dummy half finds Maguire. Maguire takes the line on and he's put to ground, 8 away from the line. Diskin at dummy half. Here's Ablett. Ablett goes on his own. He's almost over Dobson, but Ben Cockayne there just to bring him to ground. Last tackle for the Rhinos. Maguire at dummy half finds, it is Maguire. Here's it come through for Webb, and Webb scored. Leeds are on the clock. We've got a minute on the watch. First Saturday afternoon, and it's Brent Webb who gets in for the Rhinos. There was Diskin at dummy half, gets it to Maguire. Maguire with the delicate little kick. Webb a mile onside. Hull KR defence couldn't get there. Jake Webster nowhere, and Brent Webb's over for the try. Here is Lee Smith with the conversion, and the flags are up here at Henry Carnegie Engage Super League round 21. It's Leeds Rhinos 6, Hull Kingston Rovers 0. And it's not a bad start for Leeds, that, into the wind, as Michael Dobson gets us back underway. That's going to bounce awkwardly, and it's been just about dealt with by Maguire. Here's Luluai, but he's going to be trapped 5 away from the line. Maguire at dummy half finds Peacock. Now, despite the patch, this pitch is in wonderful condition. Jason's done a great job. There are a few puddles kicking about the place. There has been an enormous amount of rain here in Leeds this afternoon, as Diskin at dummy half pops it up to Luluai again, who gets to the 20. Here's Diskin at dummy half, finds Ablett, and Ablett puts it ground 35 away from the line. Diskin at dummy half finds Burrow in a bit of trouble and onto the right boot, finds the ground, and it's going to be trapped on the foot by Ben Cockayne in the place of the injured Sean Briscoe. Dobson at dummy half. Here's Liam Colburn. Of course, it's second against fourth in the table tonight. Fisher at dummy half finds Fozzard, met head on by Jamie Jones. Oof. Fisher at dummy half, told to go to the north side by Dobson. Here's Gallier, and Gallier will play it on the 40 to Fisher. Here's Dobson again, back to Mick Vella. Fisher at dummy half finds Dobson. Dobson going high, looking to test Ryan Hall, and Ryan Hall will take those all day long, and he's immediately wrapped up by Jake Webster. And here comes a penalty, and that's against Jake Webster for actually being offside. Is the call as Danny Maguire puts the ball into touch, and Leeds will start 5 short of halfway as Lawatiti takes it in for the Rhinos, gets them over halfway. Diskin at dummy half, finds Luluai. Diskin again at dummy half, finds Maguire, pops it up to Peacock. Diskin goes on his own, tries to find the markers, not square, but pops it up to Webb. Webb gets it to Lawatiti. Lawatiti with the step and pop back inside, gets it away to Burrow. Burrow looks up, goes cross field. Where's the runners? There aren't any. And it's Galea with the tackle. Here's Diskin at dummy half. Galea must have been offside, stays well out of it. Here's Maguire. Maguire gets it away to Senior. Senior trying to get through Webster and Dobson but can't. Here's Lawatiti at dummy half, finds Burrow. Burrow's going to kick, goes cross field, aim towards Watkins. That's gone backwards in the wind, and Watkins is wrapped up by Peter Fox, and it's going to be the turnover. You can actually hear the wind coming over in the cameras as Welham takes it in. It is an awful night. 2 weeks ago we were in shorts and t-shirts when we were at Hull FC. Tonight it's back to the winter gear, as Fozzard plays it to Fisher, gets it to Cockayne. Cops one there from Kylie Luluai and Lawatiti. Talk about running into a brick wall. There's Fisher at dummy half, finds Cook. Cook looks to take the Leeds line on, and he's going to be put to ground just short of halfway. Fisher at dummy half, finds Dobson. Dobson gets the kick away, run behind. It's not a bad kick that, and it will find touch about 3 metres from the goal line, and will come back for a scrum on the 10. Word is on Scott Donald he's not well. We've heard nothing more than that. Kevin Sinfield picked a dead leg up last week at Wakefield. That's why he's not here tonight. As Burrow feeds the scrum on the 10, Ablett from the base finds Lee Smith. Webb at dummy half, goes crossfield, gets it to Jamie Jones. Jamie Jones looks to cut inside Welham, but the young centre does well. Here's Ablett at dummy half again, looking the short side. Smith at dummy half, finds Maguire. Here's Peacock. Diskin finds Maguire, pops it up to Luluai. Burrow at dummy half will kick. Not a bad kick into the wind. Almost a bit of confusion between Colburn and Cockayne, but it's the former Wigan player Liam Colburn who collects, and he's met by Burrow and Lawatiti on the 30. Fisher at dummy half, comes this near side to Newton. Fisher at dummy half, finds Peter Fox, another former Leeds Academy player. Never actually made it into the first team, did Foxy. Here's Fisher, finds Cook. Cook with the dummies, collared by Peacock. Fisher at dummy half, finds Morrell, pops it back to Fozzard. Here's Cook again. Cook with the little kick through. That one's going to find the line as well, and we'll come back for another scrum. As the wind comes howling in, as Burrow feeds this scrum. Ablett from the base finds Ryan Hall. Ablett at dummy half finds Jamie Jones. Jamie Jones pops it up to Diskin. Here's Ablett out to Smith. Smith got Watkins on the outside. Here goes Callum Watkins. Watkins back inside to Smith, and Smith's put it down. And that's a chance gone for the Rhinos. Classic Leeds counter-attack. Smith released Watkins. Watkins passed back on the inside to Smith, who's just put down. And we'll pack a scrum down just before the halfway line. As Cook feeds the scrum, Morrell from the base finds Wellham. Fisher at dummy half finds Fozzard. Fisher to Dobson, pops it up to Morrell. One substitute appearance for Scott Morrell in Leeds' first team. That was against Lee back in 2005 as Fozzard takes it in. Didn't really hit the ball then, Nick Fozzard. Fisher at dummy half finds Dobson. Dobson to Cook. Cook gets it to Cockayne, who's chimed into the line, and Ben Cockayne has dropped the football, and it's going to be no advantage, and we'll come back for the scrum. Don't really know where this weather's come from as we feed this scrum on the 20 metre line. Ablett from the base finds Watkins. Webb at dummy half finds Lawatiti. Lawatiti almost gets through. Diskin at dummy half finds Peacock. Here's Diskin at dummy half, gets it to Maguire, puts boot onto ball, and it's not a bad kick from Danny Maguire. And that one's found the line, and we'll pack yet another scrum. Still don't know why Hull KR are in this awful kit. Would you describe it as brown and orange? It's not right. Why aren't they in red and white? And it's going to be Paul Cook to feed it. Morrell from the base gets it to Colburn. Webster at dummy half goes on his own. Fisher's the dummy half, gets it to Dobson. Here is Newton, big fend on Rob Burrow. Burrow gets there at the second time of asking. Dobson at dummy half, gets it to Morrell. Morrell away to Vella. Fisher at dummy half. Morrell just drops it onto the foot. It's not a bad kick that from Scott Morrell. Is it going to sit up? It isn't. Brent Webb forced to field from 3 metres inside his in goal. Pops it away to Ryan Hall. That's gone backwards. Ryan Hall's in a world of trouble. Ben Dale has given a knock on, and Leeds have conceded possession needlessly away from their own line. Oh, it's been ruled as knocked down. Oof. That's a let off. He's ruled a Hull KR, hands got to it. As Burrow feeds the scrum, Ablett from the base finds Senior. I must admit, I've been watching the cricket most of the afternoon, and the weather down at Lords has been marvellous. As Jamie Jones takes it in, Ablett's dropped it. That's going to be play on this time. Rovers have forced the turnover deep inside Leeds territory. Fisher at dummy half finds Mick Vella. Vella tries to cut away, and he's 10 away from the line in centre field. Fisher at dummy half finds Dobson. Dobson gets it away to Newton. Newton cuts in field, and he's brought to ground a couple of metres away from the line. Fisher at dummy half finds Morrell. Morrell gets it to Galea. Galea gets away from Luluai, gets it out to Vella. Vella stops, looks up, has got Senior in front of him, and it's a good tub from Keith Senior to bring Mick Vella to ground. Brent Webb just organising the defence. Fisher at dummy half finds Galea, short ball to Fozzard, that looked forward, but Fozzard will play it 5 away from the line. Fisher at dummy half gets it to Dobson, kicks ricocheted, and Dobson's going to get that back. No, he's knocked it on, and who's it going to come against? This should be against Dobson. It is, and Leeds will get head and feed, much to the consternation of a decent turnout on the Western Terrace from the Hull KR fans, certainly making themselves heard. And I'm going to resist that. I can't say that because I'm undercover. It'd be rude to say it as Lee Smith takes it in. As Leeds are looking to make a change, Willie's on. Here's Webb at dummy half, goes on his own. Luke Burgess has come on as Smith goes from dummy half. Here is Burgess, his first action of the afternoon. His little brother's been linked with a move to Manly as well. Our Sam, as Diskin finds Burrow. Burrow drives it downfield. Is that going to sit up? Oh yeah, it is. Bit like the one from Morel earlier, and Cockayne forced to go from deep, and and he's been picked up and driven back, and Lauatiti and Cockayne just exchanging a couple of pleasantries there as Liam Colvin takes it in for Hull KR. Fisher at dummy half finds Fozzard. Fox goes on his own from dummy half. Here's Fisher, finds Vella. Ben Thaler's not popular with OKR either, is he? Here's Justin Morgan made a suitable donation to the Benevolent Fund for a few comments aimed at him earlier in the season. That's not going to be a 40-20, that's just going to fall just short. And as we wait to pack the scrum down, you might have noticed a little gap there. We've got to keep cleaning the lens because of the weather. It's blowing right in on us as Ablett from the base finds Watkins. Webb at dummy half finds Lauatiti. Diskin trying to catch Webster offside, cuts back infield. He's gone 10 now, so that will be play on. Here's a knock on, and that's from Brent Webb, and he's held the hand up. It's one of them nights these kind of mistakes are going to happen. I mean, with the weather's awful, even Ben's got his socks dirty. That's how muddy it is out there. But it does look, the pitch is in super nick. I've already mentioned that once, but it's well worth mentioning again. Jason's doing a great job as Wellham gets it via Dobson. Here's Fisher at dummy half, finds Vella. Good hit from Luke Burgess. Here's Fisher at dummy half, finds Galea. Here's Dobson. Dobson pops it up to Fozzard, and Fozzard's lost that, and it's been killed by Morel, and it's a loose carry. And the back slaps are coming out for Luke Burgess. And we'll pack this scrum down 25 away from the line. Carl Ablett's just getting a little bit of attention. Does look like he's okay. And Carl Ablett might not be carrying on. This gets the ball from the scrum, and it's been dropped by Webb again, and it's been picked up by Newton. And Hull KR have got the ball back inside the Leeds 20. Fisher at dummy half finds Morel. Morel takes the Leeds line on, gets put to ground. 10 away from the line. Fisher at dummy half finds Dobson. Dobson gets it to Cook. Cook gets it to Cockayne. Here's Cockayne. Comes back in field, and again Rovers will start 10 away from the line. Here's Fisher at dummy half, finds Galea to Dobson. Dobson gets it to Morrell. Morrell with the dummy. Morrell's got through the first couple and Webb there just to wrap him up. Here's Fisher at dummy half. Fisher goes on his own. There was a little hesitancy there from Ben Fisher as he picked it up. Here's Newton at dummy half. Finds Dobson. Dobson pops it up to Mick Vella. And Vella's well wrapped up down below by Rob Burrow. Last tackle. Fisher become the near side to Morrell. Morrell stabs the kick through, and that's just going to be put dead by Brent Webb, and it'll be a goal line dropout. I think Scott Morrell initially tried to kid the referee by celebrating, but there's not too many protests there, and we'll have the goal line dropout. And another former Leeds player, Chev Walker, has just joined us. As Smith with the goal line dropout, it's more of a line drive as it finds Dobson. Here is Vella. And Burgess comes in and falls off the tackle. Fisher at dummy half. Here is Chev Walker, another member of the famous Ring Club from 2004, as Fisher finds Morrell. Here's Dobson. Dobson stops, turns and only into Jamie Jones. Fisher at dummy half. Finds Morrell. Morrell gets it to Vella. And Vella held up 15 away from the line. Fisher at dummy half. Gets it to Cook. Cook drops it onto the boot. Here's the chase, and is this a try? It could well be. Ben Thaler's looking round and he's awarded the try, and it's the youngster Chris Wellham who's gone in for Rovers. It was Paul Cook with the little kick through, split the Leeds defence, and Chris Wellham's able to pick it up and slide over for the try. And here is Michael Dobson with the conversion attempt for Rovers. He's 9 metres in from the northern touchline, kicks on its way, and the flags are up here at Headingley. We're all level. It's Leeds Rhinos 6, Hull Kingston Rovers 6. And welcome back as Lee Smith gets us underway. Taken again by Webster. Fisher at dummy half. Finds Walker. Fisher again. Goes on his own. Gets to the 40-metre line. Morrell now at dummy half. Finds Dobson. Tips it up to Mick Vella again. Do like Mick Vella. Very good player. It's been a rock for this Hull KR side. As Fisher kicks out of dummy half. Ryan Hall following it back, but that's going to be too deep, and we'll come back for a 20-metre restart. As Callum Watkins gets it from Danny Maguire. Willie's on again. Here's Ryan Hall at dummy half, goes on his own. Pirro at dummy half, finds Peacock. Diskin gets it to Maguire, pops it up to Ablett. Ablett's just flung it backwards, and Rob Burrow, forced to retreat, gets away from Morrell, gets away from a couple, does Rob Burrow. Can he turn this into something from nothing? Here's Burrow. Burrow's away. Rob Burrow gets it to Maguire, and the cover's there, and Peter Fox has forced that out, and Rob Burrow's almost turned something into nothing there. Great run, gets it to Maguire, and Fox steals the ball out in the tackle. Ben Thaler's ruled a knock on. Right, Leeds have made a change. Mike Ratu's come on, Ali Lawatiti's gone off. Mike Rattu will go to centre, Keith Senior into the second row. As Paul Cook feeds the scrum, gets it to Webster. Here's Fisher at dummy half. Dobson pops it up to Newton. Dobson at dummy half finds Walker up the near side. Dobson at dummy half finds Morrell outside the 40 though, Scott Morrell, and it's a good kick from Scott Morrell. Goes into touch 3 metres away from the flag. It will be Leeds head and feed. Reese Lovegrove is on as well for Hull KR. And there's a few wet bodies not in any rush to form this scrum, as Rob Burrows just asking Ben Taylor something. Get it in, Rob. That'll be Ben's response. As Ablett finds Michael Rattu. Maguire at dummy half goes one way, goes the other. Here's Lulawai, who's just sneaked back on. Here's Diskin at dummy half, pops it up to Burgess. Diskin at dummy half finds Webb. Webb gets it away to Rattu. Rattu finds Hall. Mike Rattu at dummy half goes on his own. I'm really pleased for Mike. Another chance off the bench tonight as Maguire kicks from deep. It's going to bounce nicely for Ben Cockayne, and Cockayne looks up and Matt Diskin, take that son, as Dobson finds Fox. Fisher at dummy half finds Reese Lovegrove. That's a big hit from Luke Burgess. They're flying in at the moment as Fisher gets it to Galea. Fisher at dummy half finds Lovegrove again. Fisher at dummy half finds Cook. Cook to Morrell, and Morrell goes high, looking to test Ryan Hall, and Hall's dropped it backwards. It's gone into the in goal. Can Ryan Hall get out of there? Yes is the answer. Good work from Ryan Hall. Here's Webb at dummy half finds Mike Rattu, and Rattu almost got the wrong body position then, and he was on for being dragged back as Webb finds Watkins. Somebody's just sneaked out at the back of the in goal there. It's Matt Diskin. Danny Badiris is on. Here's Burgess. Badiris at dummy half, up the short side to Maguire. Here's Smith, met by a good challenge from Peter Fox. Badiris at dummy half finds Maguire, gets it to Burrow, and Burrow's kick not the best. It's in a lot, big gap, and Ben Thaler just telling everybody to stay on side, and it's Senior leading the chase with Lulawai. Webster at dummy half goes on his own. Fisher. Crossfield gets it to Lovegrove. Ooh, Danny Badiris that time. Down boy as Fisher gets it to Gulliard. Dobson onto Cockayne. Ben Cockayne actually coaches Ben Thaler's brother Adam at Normanton, as Ben Galea takes it in for Rovers. Here's Morrell, finds Cook. Cook with the banana kick, and it's going to be Carl Ablett who's going to get there and cover the danger. Good work that from Carl Ablett. Here's Webb at dummy half, gets it to Watkins. Webb at dummy half, goes on his own, and offside given. No, in fact it's for the markers not being square. And Leeds will get a chance to clear the lines. And the kick from Maguire just about finds touch. It's been touched though. And we'll pack a scrum down. Didn't quite catch that right, did he? But instead of a tap, Leeds will just have a scrum. And it's going to be Rob Burrow to feed the scrum. Ablett from the base finds Smith up the short side. Badiris at dummy half finds Jamie Jones. Badiris at dummy half. Here's Burgess. Takes 4 Hull KR players to bring him to ground. Here's Badiris at dummy half. Finds Burrow coming crossfield, pops it up to Senior. Senior tries to get away from Newton, but Newton just hangs on for dear life. Here's Badiris at dummy half. Finds Maguire. Maguire takes the line on, pops it up to Luluai. Luluai for the line, just brought to ground by Walker. Here's last tackle. Badiris finds Maguire. Maguire just drops it onto the foot, and that's going to be too deep. And look at the water splashing up there when Lee Smith went for that. You know, he was lucky not to clean himself out on that advertising ordinance. We're back underway. Fisher at dummy half finds Morrell. Morrell gets it to Newton, and Rob Burrow this time gets him, but he gets it back to Morrell. Webster, the dummy half, goes on his own. Scored a couple of tries here in that opening night game a couple of years back, didn't he? As Dobson finds Lovegrove. Leeds were trailing that night as well, weren't they, for a lot of the game? As Fitzhenry at dummy half finds Dobson. Dobson just drops the kick in round the back, and Webb fields a couple of metres from the goal line, and Wellamit is with the chase. Maguire at dummy half finds Watkins. Badiris gets it to Ryan Hall. Badiris again at dummy half. Gets it to Webb. Webb gets it away to Ratu. Ratu gets inside from Webster, but not away from Cook. Webb at dummy half finds Burgess. Webb at dummy half finds Burrow. Burrow with a kick downfield. It's taken on the full by Cockayne. Cockayne brings it back and runs at Maguire and Burrow. And here's a penalty. And it's the first one of the night for Hull Kingston Rovers, and it's been met by very loud and ironic cheers from our friends on the Western Terrace. And Hull KR will start 30 metres away from the line. Fitzhenry gets it away to Scott Wheeldon. Fitzhenry at dummy half finds Galea. Galea's found a gap. Ben Galea, just wrapped up by Danny Badiris. Here's Fitzhenry at dummy half finds Dobson. Dobson to Morrell. Morrell going to take the line on, and he's wrapped up by Keith Senior. Fitzhenry at dummy half gets it away to Lovegrove. Fitzhenry at dummy half now finds Dobson. Dobson looks to take the line on, but Badiris there to bring him to ground again. Here's Fitzhenry at dummy half finds Morrell. Morrell pops a little kick back on the inside. Everyone stopped, and there's Ben Cockayne. And Ben Cockayne scored for Hull KR. Oh, what's happened there? Luke Burgess has just been caught flat-footed. It got to Morrell. Morrell with the little kick back on the inside. Luke Burgess was looking for Brent Webb. He's tried to actually obstruct Cockayne. Cockayne's got there and scored the try. Dobson with the conversion attempt, and the flags are up here at Headingley Engage Super League. It's Leeds Rhinos 6, Hull Kingston Rovers 12. And here is Lee Smith with the restart. Taken by Morrell. Here is Wealdon. Here's Lovegrove trying to fight his way away. Here's Fitzhenry from dummy half, and here's another penalty for Hull Kingston Rovers. And it's Paul Cook with the touch finder. And Rovers will start 10 metres inside the Leeds half. Here's Dobson. Dobson gets it away to Wealdon. Morrell at dummy half. Finds Lovegrove. Fitzhenry finds Wealdon again. Wealdon with the step, just can't break through. Fitzhenry at dummy half finds Dobson. Dobson pops it up to Newton. Fitzhenry at dummy half finds Morrell. Morrell gets it to Cook. Cook just drops it onto the foot, but Callum Watkins is there to rescue the danger. And Watkins is going backwards, and Hull have forced a goal line dropout. And it's Peter Fox, Paul Cook and Chris Wellen who've piled in there to push Callum Watkins back over the line. Do you think it's ever going to stop raining tonight? It is a bit like March here at the moment, as Leeds just trying to kill a bit of time. Feel sorry for those in-goal judges, they look really cold. As Lee Smith gets us back underway, that's just held up in the wind, and Cockayne takes on the 40, and Rovers will start 25 away from the Leeds line. Fitzhenry will be the dummy half. Gets it to Morrell. Morrell pops it up to Wealdon. Fitzhenry at dummy half. Finds Lovegrove. Fitzhenry again at dummy half, finds Dobson. Dobson with a drop goal, that's been charged down by Carl Ablett. Carl Ablett gets boot to ball. This is a foot race. Who's going to get there? Ablett, Dobson. Dobson gets there. Oh, he's kicked it. Hooter's gone. What's going to happen? And Dobson just about forces it into touch. And that's going to be it. Half time here at Headingley. Tries for Leeds from Brent Webb. Hull KR for Ben Cockayne and Chris Wellen. Mean at half time Hull Kingston Rovers lead by 12 points to 6 here. Stay with us. We'll be back with the second half shortly. And welcome back as Michael Dobson gets us underway for the second half. Here is Luluai. What we didn't mention before is Dane Manning's on the bench for the Rhinos tonight. He will make his debut if he does make it onto the pitch as Senior takes it in. Here's Badiris at dummy half. Gets it away to Burgess. It was a nice warming cup of tea we had at half time, wasn't it? It was well needed. As Jamie Jones takes it in. Here's Badiris at dummy half. Maguire will put boot to ball. Leeds have got the win behind them in this second half, and that's gone over the head of Peter Fox, and he'll field it 5 away from the goal line. Fox looks up, brings it back, gets 11 away from the line as Cockayne gets it to Colburn. And Liam Coleman been wrapped up by Mike Ratu. Good defence from the youngster. Here is Newton at dummy half, finds Webster. Fitzhenry gets it away to Lovegrove. Fitzhenry again at dummy half. Gets it to Galea. Last tackle for Rovers. Fitzhenry from dummy half just drops it onto the foot, and Danny Maguire will get there. Here's Webb at dummy half, goes on his own. Here's Jamie Jones-Buchanan. Badiris at dummy half, finds Burrow. Burrow gets it to Senior with the offload. It's picked up by Webb. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Luluai. Badiris finds Maguire. Maguire goes high, looking to test Peter Fox, and Watkins has got there first, but it's gone forward and it's been picked up. Here's Fitzhenry, finds Fox. Here's Wellham from dummy half. Here's Fox again from dummy half. Good quick play, the ball's there, and he gets it away to Dobson. Dobson has got away, gets it in the pass of Maguire. Everybody stops, and it's picked up by Morel. Morel tries to get through, and that's going to be a penalty. It's going to be against Burgess rather than Senior. And Hull KR are going to take the 2 points that are on offer. So with only a few minutes on the clock in the second half, while Michael Dobson's messing about, we'll welcome our out-of-town viewers who are taking these DVDs tonight, and all our local friends as well. It's a pleasure to have you along. Where are we next week? Wigan. It's a big one, isn't it, apparently? It must be because Leeds are in town, as Dobson lines up this penalty attempt. Here is Dobson, kicks on its way, and the flags are up here at Henley. Takes the score to Leeds Rhinos 6, Hull KR 14. Lee Smith with the kick-off. It's juggled by Dobson, and who gets it inside to Wielden. Fitzhenry at dummy half, gets it to Liam Colburn. Fitzhenry again, gets it to Morel, going from deep with Cook, and it takes three of them to bring him to ground. Here's Fitzhenry at dummy half, finds Lovegrove with his Mr. T haircut. He ain't getting on no plane, you crazy fool. As Fitzhenry goes from dummy half. I'll give him some milk as well. He's Dobson on the last tackle, drives the kick downfield. Webb will take on the 20 metre line. Brent Webb looks up. It's not a bad chase from Rovers. Scott Wielden led the way. Here's Ryan Hall. Watkins at dummy half, goes on his own. Badiris at dummy half, finds Maguire, double switch back to Jamie Jones. Burrow at dummy half, puts boot to ball, looking for the in goal. Is that going to sit up? Is that going to sit up? No, it's just going to find the line, and we'll come back for a 20 metre restart. As Fitzhenry finds Peter Fox. Peter Fox and Scott Morrell, they were from the golden age of Thursday night reserve games, or senior academies they were known then. We used to see some tries from them too, didn't we? Especially Foxy. Here's Dobson. You think of the others around the league who are playing now. Jason Golden was involved in all of them. Carl Ablett, Lee Smith, Scott Morrell we've already mentioned. Here's Wielden. They were an entertaining side to watch, weren't they? And they're all still very close, a lot of them. Ben Kay as well, we missed out as Dobson goes to ground. Johnny Warehouse even, he's on the staff here at Leeds these days. As Cook puts it downfield. Found by Brent Webb. Might as well give the Gallagher brothers a mention as well. Johnny and Tommy. John's at Batley, Tom's at Rochdale these days. As Hull are looking for a knock on, and what's come. And Clint Newton's just getting the decision from Ben Thaler. And it's a penalty for holding down. And Danny Maguire will have the touch finder. Who else have we missed? Luke Stenchen, he's still at Batley. As Maguire finds Lulawine. There's plenty of ex-Leeds players kicking about everywhere, isn't there, really? Here's Ablett, Jason Hart, there's another one. He's at Hunslet these days. As Badiris finds Maguire, gets it to Smith. Smith away from Dobson, but not from Fox. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Luke Burgess. Badiris' pass is appalling and it's picked up by Paul Cook. Now Joe McBride was more 2003, as Russ has just reminded me. Speaking, it was a bit more the class of 04 I was thinking of, as Newton takes it in for Hull KR. Here's Ben Cockayne. It's even brought back a few memories for Russ and a coaching video that he did with them all. Would that be with Stuart Wilkinson as well? Here is Dobson, finds Mick Vellett. Had the pleasure of speaking to Stuart last Sunday, by the way, at the Northern Rail Cup final. Here's Fitzhenry at dummy half, finds Dobson. Good little kick over from Dobson. Somebody's been taken out in back play. Here comes the touch judge. That's Joe Cobb. And here comes the penalty, and it is going to be for somebody being taken out. It was Fox who was taken out. Did you see the Origin on Wednesday night, by the way? Oh, one of the best blues I have seen in ages, with about 2 minutes to go. Not that I condone violence on the rugby pitch at all, but it was great to watch as Fozzard takes it in for Hull KR. Steve Price was the unfortunate man. He actually got knocked out clean by a cracking punch that would have put Amir Khan on his back as well. Here's Fitzhenry at dummy half, finds Dobson, gets it to Newton. We wish Amir Khan luck for tomorrow night, by the way. Here's Morrell. Morrell had to go low to pick it up, and again the Hull KR fans are screaming for a penalty. Here's Fitzhenry, finds Galea. Galea goes on his own. Leeds just looking to hold out now. As last tackle, 2 away from the line. Fitzhenry goes on his own from dummy half, and he's not going to get it down. He's going to be ruled held up, and it'll be a turnover on the 10 because it's the last tackle. And Luke Burgess is just struggling a little bit in back play as Lee Smith has coughed it up. First tackle. Here's Fox. Fox up against Watkins. Got away from Smith. He's got away from Badiris. Good run from Peter Fox. And Leeds suddenly under a world of pressure. Here's Fitzhenry at dummy half. Finds Vella. Here's Fozzard. Fitzhenry at dummy half. Finds Dobson. Dobson taken to ground by Smith. Here's Fitzhenry at dummy half. Morrell finds Cook. Cook gets it away to Fox for the corner. Forced back infield by the cover and forced back into the hands of Jamie Jones-Buchanan. Here's Wellham at dummy half, finds Galea. Galea drops it onto the boot. That's going to have too much in it, and it's going to be a 20-metre restart. Charlie Nielsen, the in-goal judge there, giving Leeds the benefit of that one. Here's Ratu. Here's Ryan Hall from dummy half. Dave Tootle, that was the one we've missed from 2004. He's at Batley as well. Here's Callum Watkins. Badiris finds Peacock. Dane Manning has joined us for his debut. He's wearing 27. As Maguire just drops it in over the top. Cockayne will field 5 away from the line. And that's Dane Manning straight into the action. Welcome to Super League, son. As Wellham takes it in. Here's Fitzhenry at dummy half. Finds Colburn running sideways. Fitzhenry at dummy half. Finds Newton. Quickly wrapped up by Mike Ratu. As Fitzhenry finds Fozzard. Fitzhenry finds Dobson just inside the 40. And Brent Webb's there to field, 15 away from the line. Gives it to Ryan Hall and had a bit of a red cross on that, as Hall was immediately taken by Colburn. Here's Webb at dummy half, goes on his own. Ratu at dummy half, finds Lauatiti. Badiris at dummy half, finds Peacock. Badiris finds Burrow. Burrow goes on his own and looked high from Morel. And time off called. Scott Morell's just going to have a quick word with Ben Fowler. He acknowledges what he's done wrong. Just gives Ben a little tap on the shoulder and sorry mate, and we'll get on with it. As Maguire with the touch finder. And Leeds will start 25 away from the line. Here is Badiris. Here is Dane Manning, first touch in the first team. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Peacock. Peacock is held up a couple of metres short. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Burrow. Burrow coming crossfield, gets it to Smith, and Smith immediately wrapped up. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Lauatiti. Lauatiti for the line is going to be held up 8 short. Here's Badiris at dummy half, that's come out, penalty. And now Lauatiti gives Mick Vella a little cheeky tap, says thank you very much, and Leeds are going to get on with it with Badiris. Here's Burrow to Maguire. Maguire taking the line on. Maguire back on the inside to Peacock, and Peacock scored. Jamie Peacock's in for the Rhinos on the back of the penalty. Leeds go to the right. Burrow finds Maguire. Maguire takes on the Hull KR line, gets through the challenge of Galea, gets it back on the inside to Peacock, and Peacock's over for his 4th try of the season. And Lee Smith just getting a little attention before he attempts the conversion. It was just a hint of claret knocking about there. Was successful with his first attempt as Lee Smith. Here he comes, kicks on his way, and the flags are up here at Headingley Carnegie Engage Super League. It's Leeds Rhinos 12, Hull KR 14. Here's Dobson with the kick-off. Straight down the middle, taken by Maguire. Here is Lawatiti on the charge. Good return from Lawatiti. Here is Badiris at dummy half, finds Mike Ratu. Badiris at dummy half, finds Senior. He's getting better and better, isn't he? As the year goes on, as Badiris takes a couple of attempts to collect that one in. Smith at dummy half, finds Peacock. Badiris at dummy half, finds Maguire. Maguire just drops it onto the foot all along the ground. Kilkenny's going to be forced to field 5 away from the line. How good's the chase? Dame Manning take a bow on first there. Great chase from the debutant. Here's Fox at dummy half, finds Colburn as the rain begins to drive down here at Headingley, and the South Stand have lifted, and here's Fox. Leeds looking to put a big defensive set on. They're eager to get out of the traps. Here's Fitzhenry at dummy half, finds Colburn again. Colburn gets away from the first challenge, not the second of Senior. Fitzhenry at dummy half, finds Fozzard, and it's last tackle for Hull KR. Fitzhenry at dummy half, finds Dobson. Dobson gets the kick away. Lee Smith back at full back now. Brent Webb's gone off. We'll try and find out what's up with him for you. And another penalty against Scott Morrell. Lee Smith just cheekily throws the ball at Scott Morrell. They are good mates off the pitch, as Rob Burrow puts that into touch, and Leeds will start 35 away from the line. I do believe we're winning a penalty count as well, as Badiris finds Senior. Senior pops it up to Smith. Smith tries to get away from Webster but can't. Badiris at dummy half, goes the short side to Mike Ratu. Ratu pops it up to Smith, to Lawatiti, and Leeds are now 15 away from the line. Here's Badiris, finds Peacock, back to Burrow. Burrow to Maguire. Maguire's got round the man who shot out the line. Maguire pops back in field, just can't get it away. It's Vella with the tackle up top. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Peacock. Peacock is going to be held 8 away from the line. Badiris at dummy half, finds Maguire, just drops it onto the boot. That's going to be too hard, and Callum Watkins has nearly taken out a cameraman and an advertising hoarding and whatever you like there. Bravery. And Hull KR can't get the quick tap because they can't get the ball there quick enough. Here's Liam Colburn on the back of the restart. Here's Fitzhenry at dummy half, gets it away to Vella, and it's all looking a little slow from Hull KR at the moment. The pace of them has just dropped a little bit. Here is Fozzard, or it could be Leeds have lifted. Leeds actually do look to they've lifted it a little bit, as Fitzhenry finds Cook. Here's Newton, gets it to Webster, and Webster immediately wrapped up by Ryan Hall. Here's Newton. Of course, Hull KR are playing right into this driving rain as they get to halfway. Fitzhenry at dummy half, finds Morrell, and that's going to be trapped on the foot by Smith, and Smith looks up, comes crossfield, bounces away from Cook, but goes backwards, and Walker there to wrap him up. Here is Badiris at dummy half, finds Watkins. Watkins goes on his own. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Dame Manning. Badiris at dummy half, finds Diskin. Badiris again at dummy half, gives it to Peacock, to Burrow. Burrow with a step, Burrow's in the clear. Here's Rob Burrow, looking left, looking right, floats the pass out to Ryan Hall, and Ben Thaler's given a... Oh, Ryan Hall's in, Ben Thaler's stopped though. He's disallowed it for a forward pass. And, well, look at the rain, and I can't really argue with the decision either, to be honest. The line's the giveaway. As we get word of the crowd, 16,192 people here at Headingley tonight, and on a filthy night like this, that's a great crowd. And a big thanks to all the travelling fans from Humberside as well. They've brought plenty down on a Friday night. As Dobson feeds the scrum, Morrell from the base finds Colburn. McVella's on his way to sideline. As Fitzhenry finds Walker. Do you get the feeling they're using Chev as a prop if they're bringing him on for Nick Fozzard? I'm sure he's enjoying that. Here's Fitzhenry, gets it away to Lovegrove. Here's Cockayne. Call him Charlie, I don't know why. Here's Fitzhenry, finds Dobson. Dobson pops it up to Galea. Galea back to Walker. Walker out of the back door to Cook. Cook to Lovegrove. All very well these offloads, but we're not going anywhere forwards with it. Here's Fitzhenry at dummy half. Finds Morrell. And that kick from Scott Morrell is going to just hit the line, and we'll come back for a 20-metre restart. Quick wipe of the camera, Russ. As Maguire finds Callum Watkins. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Peacock. Here's Badiris again, gets it to Lawatiti. Lawatiti gets to halfway, good run from the big man. He's hit some form recently as well as Lawatiti. Here's Badiris finds Senior. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Luluai. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Maguire, goes high, looking to test Cockayne, hit the post. How close was that to the post? We're going to come back for a 20-metre restart, and that'd have been fun if it had hit some woodwork then, wouldn't it? As Fitzhenry finds Liam Colburn. Peter Fox in off the wing to help out. England international now, Peter Fox. Done well for himself. Here's Walker at dummy half, goes on his own. Here's Fitzhenry now, finds Lovegrove. Fitzhenry at dummy half, finds Dobson. Dobson goes for territory. Is that going to find the line? Yes, it is, and we'll come back for a 20-metre restart. As Badiris finds Ryan Hall. Here's Maguire at dummy half, finds Dane Manning. Badiris goes on his own. As the South Stand scream for offside, or for the markers not being square at least. Here's Diskin at dummy half, finds Peacock. Diskin at dummy half, finds Burrow. Burrow tries to put the dummy on but can't get away from Webster. Lawatiti at dummy half. On the last, Maguire just about gets his kick away in heavy traffic, and that's going to bounce awkwardly for Fox. He's fumbled it, but it's gone backwards, and that will be play on, and Peter Fox looks to return it for Rovers. Here's Wellham at dummy half, flings the pass in field. It's going to be picked up by Walker, and Walker immediately met by Senior. Here's Fisher at dummy half, gets it away to Lovegrove. Fisher again at dummy half, gets it to Newton. Newton's lost that, Newton's lost it, that's going to be play on. Here's Burrow at dummy half, finds Lawatiti. Badiris at dummy half, finds Luluai. Here's Burrow, gets it to Maguire. Here's Ablett running out wide. Diskin at dummy half, finds Maguire. Maguire gets it to Smith. Met ball and all there by Peter Fox, but Leeds are 11 away from the line. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Manning. Manning pops it up to Jamie Jones, and Jamie Jones is brought to ground just short of the line. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Maguire. Maguire drops it onto the foot, and Ben Cocane's going to be stopped in goal. And Dobson with the goal line dropout. And Maguire traps on the foot. Here is Luluai. Badiris at dummy half, goes on his own, finds Lawatiti. Lawatiti's in the clear. Here's Lawatiti, only Cocane to beat, and he's brought him to ground. Quick play, the ball needed. Did he get it? Yes. Badiris from dummy half finds Jamie Jones. Leeds are a metre short of the line. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Burrow. Burrow to Manning. Manning just can't get through the gap. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Burrow. Burrow looks up, goes crossfield, pops it up to Smith. Smith changes the direction, looked to pass, and he's dumped onto his back by Paul Cook. Last tackle for Leeds. Badiris at dummy half, finds Maguire. Maguire goes crossfield. It's jump ball, it's been knocked by somebody, and it's going to be a goal line dropout. It's been put dead by a Hull KR player. And time off called by Ben Thurland. There's a Hull KR player down in the in goal. So we're at Wigan next Friday. It's been heavily billed by the Wigan club as the big one. I think they've sold about 22,000 tickets. They're expecting. It's a tenner in, tenner for adults, fiver for kids. Leeds have played their part. They put the half-price coaches on for the first 750 people, I think, and it'll be Frankie and Benny's for tea next Friday for us then, as Luluai takes it in. Of course, it's not that long since we've been there, is it? On other duties, as Badiris finds Lawatiti. Lawatiti brought to ground 10 away from the line. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Diskin. Diskin's pass on the bounce for Maguire. Maguire drops it onto the foot for Ablett. Cocaine just gets there and he's knocked it into touch, and it's going to be head and feet for Leeds. It was the Edinburgh weekend when we were last there, weren't it? Yeah. We went to the football before going to Edinburgh, didn't we? That was it. And the South Stand just finding a little bit of voice now to try and roll the boys home as we come up to 10 minutes to go. Here's Burrow, Diskin from the base, finds Maguire, and Maguire's dropped it. And he's held his hands up, and everybody's getting there to form the scrum up. Somebody's in there who shouldn't be. That's Matt Diskin. As Dobson feeds the scrum and gets it to Cocaine, and now Cocane's dropped it, and it's a drop on a at the moment as Leeds rush to get the scrum formed again. Ryan Hall dishing the encouragement out, everybody's in there. Can you put some special slippy coating on ball when it starts raining? As scrum's fed, Diskin finds Maguire. Maguire looks to go on his own, but he's wrapped up on the 20. Diskin at dummy half. Finds Manning. Here's Badiris at dummy half. Gets it to Burrow. Burrow to Luluai. Luluai just held on to by Scott Wheeldon. 5 away from the line. Badiris at dummy half. Goes on his own. Danny Badiris has scored. Danny Badiris is in. Try for Danny Badiris, and Leeds have hit the front. Oh, great from the former New South Wales player. Picks up from dummy half. Takes the Hull KR line on. Twists away from Wheeldon. And just about gets it on the line for the try. And here is Lee Smith with the conversion attempt for the Rhinos, just to the left of the post. Kicks on its way, and the flags are up here at Headingley Stadium. Engage Super League. It's Leeds Rhinos 18, Hull Kingston Rovers 14. As Michael Dobson gets us back underway, it's taken by Maguire. Here is Jamie Jones. Badiris at dummy half finds Dane Manning. Here's Badiris at dummy half finds Luluai. Great story for Dane Manning. He was on the Bala tour 12 months ago. As Diskin takes it in. He's from Dewsbury. It's a bit of a Dewsbury mafia now. Disco and Biffa and everybody else. There's Franny as well, yeah. As Burrow gets the kick in downfield. They always used to refer to the Oldham Mafia at one time, didn't they? Which was Yestin Kevin Barry. As Liam Colburn brings it back. Here's Ben Cockayne at dummy half, wrapped up by Badiris. Here's Fox. Goes on his own. Here's Fisher at dummy half. Finds Wheeldon. Here's Fisher again at dummy half. Goes on his own. News reaching us from the GPW Recruitment Stadium. St Helens are losing. Here's Lovegrove at dummy half. Dobson on the last tackle, puts it high, and it's bounced away from a couple of people. And here's Lee Smith. And Lee Smith's got it. Foot race, only Cockayne to beat, only one winner here. Lee Smith down the south stand touchline, and this is going to seal things, and Lee Smith gets in for the try. And somebody falls over the hoardings as well. All came from the high kick from Dobson. Dobson's kick, it was missed by everybody, bounced away, bounced nicely for Lee Smith. Smith only had Cockayne to beat, gets away from him, much to the delight, down the south stand touchline, and Lee Smith's in at the corner for could what be the winning try of the night. And this by far and away the hardest kick that Lee Smith has had tonight. And it's in the only what could be described as bare patch on the ground now. It's the only bit that Jason's not managed to get right. It's a bit spongy there, isn't it, as Lee Smith lines up this conversion attempt. Smith right-footed, kicks on its way, and easy fragile up here at Headingley Engage Super League. It's the Leeds Rhinos 24, Hull Kingston Rovers 14, and it looks like Leeds could be going level with St Helens at the top of the table tonight if things stay as they are over at Knowsley Road. Other latest scores: Hull FC lead Celtic Crusaders by 16 points to 6, and Castleford leads Salford by 18 points to 12 as the short kickoff comes in, and that's been claimed, and that's still an area that Leeds have problems with, isn't it? Short kickoffs. Fisher finds Lovegrove. Here's Fisher at dummy half, finds Dobson, pops it up to Walker. Here's Fisher at dummy half finds Lovegrove, and Lovegrove's dropped it. That's a loose carry, plain and simple. No two words about that. He's looked up to the referee for help there, did Reese Lovegrove, but he's just plain and simple dropped it. And we'll pack the scrum down. 15 away from the Leeds line. And there's 5 minutes left here. Here's Burrow. Feeds the scrum. Disking from the base finds Ablett. Here's Ryan Hall at dummy half. I tell you what, those Rovers fans haven't shut up on the Western Terrace. They're still singing away. Here's Badiris at dummy half. Finds Peacock. They've got to keep warm somehow, haven't they? Yeah. Here's Badiris at dummy half. Goes on his own. Diskin now at dummy half. Finds Burgess. Burgess just runs right over Reese Lovegrove. And it's last tackle. Here's Maguire. Maguire just drops it onto the butt. Finds the line. And we'll pack a scrum down 15 away from the Rovers line. And Rovers are trying to get 6 back there to pack this scrum, but they're looking a little tired now, aren't they? And most of the Leeds packs there as well. And Mick Vella's just sneaked on as Dobson. Mick Vella's gone to standoff. And it's gone to Fox instead. Here's Fisher at dummy half. Finds Dobson. Out for Newton. Here's Fisher at dummy half. Finds Wielden. Here's Fisher at dummy half. Gets it away. I can't see who that is. No, it's Ben Galea. Galea will play it to Fisher. Here is Lovegrove. Fisher at dummy half. Finds Galea on the boot, straight down the throat of Lee Smith. Here's Badiris, finds Watkins. Here's Ryan Hall at dummy half, goes on his own. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Maguire to Jamie Jones. Still no change at Knowsley Road, but they are about 5 minutes behind us. Here is Badiris at dummy half, finds Peacock. Here's Badiris at dummy half, finds Burrow. Burrow going high, looking to test Cockayne, and Cockayne is safe under that high ball. Well taken that in this weather by Ben Cockayne. Do you know, it's almost grand final weather this, you know. Let's hope for a repeat come the 10th of October. Yeah, the Manchester summer, yeah. As Galea gets it away to Wellham. Here's Fisher at dummy half, finds Dobson. Dobson to Newton. Newton away to Webster. Webster gets it to Colburn. Colburn back on the inside to Webster. Webster gets it away. It's been dropped backwards by Newton. Picked up by Walker. Walker gets it away on the bounce to Colburn. Colburn's dropped it straight to his legs. And Leeds will get head and feed on halfway. We hope we haven't spoilt your enjoyment of this DVD tonight with a constant wiping of the lens. It's just we've been forced into it by the weather, unfortunately. As Rob Burrow feeds his scrum. Good win for the reserves tonight as well, by the way, as Lee Smith puts the kick in over the top from the base of the scrum. Here comes Cockayne, and Cockayne's forced to just kick it dead. And it will be a goal line dropout. And they're not in any rush now, Rovers, to take this, and they're not going to get chance to. That's it, full time here at Headingley. Leeds have won by 24 points to 14. Could go level with Saints on the top of Engage Super League tonight. They're still actually at it. So tries for Brent Webb, Jamie Peacock, the final one from Lee Smith, and what could be a controversial one from Danny Badiris means Leeds have won tonight by 24 points to 14. Commentary from me, Matthew Horton. Your pictures from Russell Callahan. We're back next week at the JJB Stadium for the big one against the Wigan Warriors. Until then, it's good night.